What's up, guys? Welcome back to another rundown. I am Sam, and I'm here with Zach, householder of Whitechapel. What's up, dude? Thanks for taking the time, man.
Of course.
Dude, how's it going? I've been hearing nothing but good things about this tour.
No, it's been, it's kind of the second part of, the hymns release, like cycle kind of thing, but we're doing the album in full.
Well, hey, you're at the tail end now, playing Chattanooga tonight. And we got to talk about this guitar, dude. This is insane. You're playing this tonight on stage, right?
Correct. This is from a company called Hapas. It takes a lot for a company kind of like me to be like, ooh, check these out. And obviously these are unique looking aesthetically guitars.
Totally.
But I started digging into them, and Alex had got a Judge a few years ago from them. We had a tour in Europe. They met him because he had bought one. He wanted one and flew back with it from Europe. And I got to work on it a little bit, and I loved it. And then on down the road, I played some Aristides, but they're a boutique company. They don't do endorsements. Great company, great dudes. Nothing bad to say about them. But I haven't had a company that's like I've been at home with for a long time, and I wanted to order some of these and try them out. So I talked with them, and this is the Sludge.
The
Sludge, yeah. And so clearly it's kind of a telly looking body style, that cutaway in there, and they're letting me try out like kind of the base model, but some of my preferences. Like they usually do one pickup.
Okay.
But I wanted to I want to give it the full run. So they do their own pickups, and they like to have their own pickups and their own guitars. But we're Dimarzio
guys.
Like Larry is hands down. He might as well be a family member at this point. And
sure.
I was like, I cannot. I'm sorry, it's non-negotiable. I can't do that. And a little secret between us and the whole internet now, I guess. This is our prototype.
Yeah.
For the, I think Alex was talking to you about that.
Yeah, we just talked about this. Tell us again. Let's hear it.
We got the first run of the prototypes, and they were rail pickups. We said, do like the Deactivator X, but a 7-string. And they gave us one of those, and it was fantastic, but it was way too hot. It's just a little too hot. And what I did, this is kind of the geeky part of it, I went in like a DAW, and I got FabFilter, the Pro Q plugin, and it's a graphic EQ, and it has a match EQ setting in it, right? So you can match one source EQ to another one. And so what I did, I found what I liked about, say for instance, the Lundgren or the Jupiter pickup.
Sure.
And I would lay that EQ over like the Dimarzio and be like, these are the differences.
You could see the peaks and troughs.
Correct. And I'm like, and I gave them audio samples too. I'm like, these are kind of the differences. You can hear what the difference is. I just had Alex, like, he has like his right hand is just, we call it the hoof.
Yeah.
It's just,
Sure.
So I had him play a bunch of riffs on the same guitar. We just changed out the pickup. So we did that. And then they kind of made the adjustments based off of that. And we hadn't really got to dig in with the second run of prototypes yet. This is the ceramic. We did a ceramic hotter output and an Alnico one.
Okay.
So this is the ceramic hotter output one. They're not going to tell me what they did different-wise until I, just so I have unbiased opinion.
Smart, yeah.
So I got to throw this in before I left for tour and just mess around with it. I love it so far, but this is an odd guitar to try it out in.
Yeah.
So I need to go home and try it in a more familiar, like Aristides. They're good guitars to try out pickups in because it's just a very basic, not flat, but it's a very even sound. You get a good impression of what a pickup is.
Isn't the material those guitars are made out of was engineered to be like that? It's called Richlite or something?
No, it's called Arium.
Arium.
Sorry.
Richlite is a fretboard material.
Correct.
That's what I'm thinking about. That's Richlite.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
And that's what Aristides uses as well.
Okay, got it.
So it's a proprietary product they made and engineered called Arium, and it mimics the porousness of wood without imperfections in it. So that's why everyone that gets one says it's so even sounding, because wood has imperfections. You either love it or you don't.
Yeah. So one guitar, like two guitars that are made the exact same way, are still going to have their differences.
Yeah, it could be right off the.
It's an organic thing.
It could be the same tree, just cut higher from the trunk, whereas this one's lower, and it could huge difference.
Totally.
So, but with further ado, you got a few options, but it's one solid piece of ash. This is, bolt-on neck on this one.
Oh, very cool. Yeah.
And I'm a big fan of the bolt-on and set necks, but mainly bolt-on.
Bolt-ons, yeah.
Ergonomic-wise, this thing rules. Like the neck feels incredible. The radius, I'm guessing the radius is probably a 16. They only do like hip shot style bridges. That was hard for me to get used to again because I've been playing tunematics for so long.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, and I had been, the Aristides are hip shot, but the past year or two, I had gone back to tunematics, and I just like the extra tension it adds.
Yeah.
So I kind of had to get used to that again. It's just a little less tension, but also, 27 inch.
Yeah,
there's more tension there.
Yeah.
So This one's a 27. I have another one that's a 28, and this is
28.
Yeah, I mean at the moment this one's in drop G, and it's my 27-inch. Pickup wise, like I said, this is just a deactivator bridge. This is our prototype, and the hardware is all hip shot. You got hip shot locking tuners on there, which I've used hip shot locking tuners for forever. I'd never have problems with
I
them.
also love that shape for the head. Yeah, well, yeah, the headstock is amazing. I mean, the reverse headstock. Well, Alex was telling us that you guys do the bend behind the
Oh yeah,
knot
sometimes
thing,
we do. Yeah,
so,
we do sometimes. It
helps
makes it
to
a lot
have that.
easier.
Yeah, for sure, dude.
And when it's a regular one and you only have the tuner right there, you have like such little space to do it.
Right.
It's a very dumb reason to
Surgeon.
do it.
Yeah. No, it's sick, dude.
I also have my cheat sticker for my my gauges.
I
just
noticed
in case.
that. That's awesome. Yeah, you gotta have that. for
But
sure.
this one doesn't have it. The other guitar does. This usually I do a push-pull for the coil split, and I'll isolate the coil closest to the neck, so it's like a little snappier. But I feel like down here when you isolate this one, it's a little too twingy. You know, being closer to the bridge.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Yeah, I like it being a little bit closer to the neck there. And when I go to the neck pickup and isolate it, I'm not picky as much, but usually I'll get, it's like if I'm going to the neck, I want the neck sound. So if it's a single coil, it's the one closest to the neck.
Of course, yeah.
But stainless steel frets,
Nice.
Richlite fretboard.
Cool.
Richlite to me, I do not dislike it. I think I still prefer wood neck, like mainly ebony. I'm a big fan of ebony fretboards.
Sure, yeah.
Hopefully in the future, with them, maybe I can sweet talk them into doing a few things for like personally, like they're capable of doing the tune-o-matic stuff. And now as far as their process with the necks and the fretboards, I'm not sure if they're willing to budge or like move on that, like as far as changing the material. But
Right.
I wouldn't be heartbroken about it because again, the necks, they do these necks. This neck is ash and maple neck. It's a 3-piece.
Oh wow,
It's
ash.
It has ash and maple in it.
Okay,
And
that's
it's,
much less common.
Yeah, and it's kind of their thing too. And
Cool.
it's a sturdy neck too, man. It's this thing. It doesn't move a lot as far as throughout the tour. It stayed pretty sturdy,
Yeah.
and truss rods down here.
I was gonna mention
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
I
it's
love
sick.
that.
The wheel down here. It's just easy to done.
Yeah, you just nudge it. And, every time I go into a headstock to adjust my truss rod, the Allen wrench gets stuck.
Oh yeah,
I have to
you gotta like
get it out of there.
loosen the strings
The
here
end
to
of
like
string,
do it too.
yeah.
This is way easier down here
Yeah,
to
it's a
me.
cool design, man.
And of course, Luminlay fret markers. And
Yeah, I have to ask
that
though.
even glows.
Oh, that glows too.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's so sick. Did you go blue or green on the Luminlays?
These are blue.
Blue. Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you and Alex have Luminlays, but he went green.
Yeah, these are blue.
Yeah, cool.
Again, man, it's been sick so far.
Yeah.
I love their finishes, man.
Yeah,
like
it's beautiful.
They're real particular about the pieces of wood they pick.
Yeah,
for
well,
the
I mean,
wood.
look at that
Yeah.
inlaid pick guard.
I
Dude.
mean, they're artists when it comes to that
Yeah.
part.
I'm seeing it up close. I can even see that there's binding on it.
Yeah,
isn't
yeah.
it?
It's dude. I
That's
couldn't begin to tell you how
crazy.
they do that because I
Yeah.
haven't picked their brain about it. But man, it's just and feel how
Yeah.
the smoothness of the transition.
I mean,
it's-
it's nothing, dude.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Like literally a part of the guitar.
Yeah, and it's again, it's just like they do they have the option too where they can char the ash too to give it a different sound, and they even offer a brass nut.
No kidding.
Yeah. Which I always thought about that because Spectres have that brass nut on the basses and they sound phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of wondering for low tuning, I was like, man, I wonder if a brass nut would be just extra zingy and
Yeah,
awesome. But
yeah.
I got scared and I didn't try it. So,
Well, it's interesting because you're approaching that as an audio engineer as well as a guitar player.
right. I approach it differently each way for the studio and live, but always from the perspective of an engineering perspective, if that makes sense. So,
Well, both things have to feed themselves, right? Like
Correct.
the guitar you choose is also influenced by your engineering knowledge.
correct. Yeah. And also though, to aesthetics, you want to feel cool playing a guitar. Like that's part of it. That's the synergy with it. That's the vibe. And if you're into Explorers and stuff, you put on a big black Explorer, it's like damn.
Yeah.
Embrace my inner Hatfield for a minute. Like
Right.
you feel cool doing it. And
Totally, dude.
So it's another thing about this company is just. They're just mean looking. The guitars are mean. They just released the Xenomorph finished, which
dude,
it was.
Let's go.
It's just literally. It's exactly what you think it would be.
Yeah.
It's like the ash, the ash with the grain and everything, but
Yeah.
it's slick like the Xenomorph look.
Oh, it's so
all
cool,
blacked out,
dude.
and they look
That's
sick.
awesome.
Yeah. So and it's not to mention you get to say you own a guitar that's a Xenomorph, model.
dude.
Yeah.
The Xenomorph guitar.
Yeah.
bro.
It was they'll do them again, but they sold out like that. So
yeah.
The super sick looking guitars. Maybe I can bend their ear and have them tweak a few things to my playing if I get some like more customized guitar string at some point. But I would really love a tune-o-matic on this, just because I know they're not as, you can't get as detailed with them, of course, but. So
what? Yeah. I mean, you
still,
want what you want, dude.
But I can still, I mean, you can still intonate them just fine. Yeah. It's just the height you got to play with a little bit more, because you don't have individual string height as much as you do on the hip shots.
Yeah, definitely.
But also, on some guitars, it's got to have a tune-o-matic. You can't, hip shots don't look right on some guitars.
Yeah,
so.
absolutely. I would argue the same with Floyd's.
Yeah, that's
some
true.
Guitars, like that's just the way it is.
And Floyd's, I have a love-hate thing.
Where do you land on a tremolo, especially like a Floyd Rose system?
Are we talking a floating tremolo or a Floyd Rose system? Because I prefer the floating tremolo. I've seen less chunk of the body taken up, and they seem to be a little more forgiving.
Yep.
But the Floyd, I'm probably gonna get eaten alive. But the Floyd hardware is garbage.
Oh,
that's why replacing all of the.
We were just.
We got hot takes over.
This was not my take, as I play a Floyd Rose, but we were talking about this earlier in the car. We were talking about upgrading Floyd Roses and how you can upgrade to titanium. You can get the brass blocks.
It's the move. It's the move.
The noiseless springs, for example.
Yes. FU Tone does great upgrades for them too. I just don't understand how you're a company that long making a legendary product, but you haven't fixed the stuff. Yeah, that's just.
Literally take it out of your mouth, dude. That's exactly what you said. Exactly what you said.
They're so angry.
God.
But okay, but here's the thing about the comment section. What I'll ask you all is like, there's a difference, massive difference between you sitting in your fucking bedroom and then touring with it, and beating the shit out of your guitar every night. I guarantee you, those techs on those bigger bands that are with artists that are beating the crap out of their guitars and Floyds, like we're not beating the crap out of them, but like other guitarists and other bands, I'm sure it gets abused a lot longer and a lot more on stage. Those techs are fixing those every show, and they have tons of parts, just like we have tons of spare parts for Savage's Floyds, because they just break. Some of his PRSs have the upgraded blocks and everything in it, and they're great, fantastic. I just wish they would take the initiative. I guess it's just they're they have the product, they're comfortable with it, they don't need to do it. Maybe they will at some point, but I feel like you have such an iconic piece of gear that gets used and is necessary for guitar playing. Let's make it a little better.
Well, and there's another element to this that I always consider, and that is like your knowledge of upkeep when it comes to a Floyd Rose. Because the whole system, it's like, I hear people all the time, they're saying, they don't know how to restring the guitar. They don't know how to keep things in tune or intonated and stuff. But once you learn and you have the experience of doing it, it becomes like night and day better.
It's necessary. Well, to me, there's no excuse now when it comes to the internet, because there's
totally, dude.
There's
YouTube.
You want to learn everything. You want to learn Ben Eller. Ben Eller will teach you everything you need to know about a Floyd Rose pickup. He has a ton of knowledge about that stuff, and he's a good teacher too. But not just him. Not like you go out there. Don't just sit there and go, I don't know what to do, and then go on a forum and ask like a bunch of idiots that don't know what they're doing either. Go on the internet and find someone that like legit. Well, that's probably the same thing, I guess, but. just go to Ben Eller's YouTube and just listen to him. Okay?
Shout out Ben Eller, dude. We love you, man.
But when it comes to the Floyds, like you said, once you learn it, you even have a better understanding of regular intonation and everything too. And a lot of people don't understand how this whole thing works with the intonation of the neck and everything too. And they have a concept, but they don't have the whole picture yet. And like you said, the upkeep on the Floyd, it's just like maintaining a car. I mean, it's going to wear out. Parts are going to wear out. You've got to look and check every now and then and see how things are looking. And if you lift up the back, the tabs that go up and down for the fine tuners and everything, they'll start to wear out and they won't bend anymore. And at that point, you might as well buy a whole new Floyd. But if they start to wear out, but you can make them last. You're just going to have to do some work to them or just upgrade them. I suggest upgrading them. But.
Well, and that's the thing, because it depends on the model too. Right?
Like
there are tiers to them. When you get to the top, it's like these are German made pieces of machinery.
Like the actual. Okay, so maybe
the
educate
original
me a little
Floyd
bit. The original Floyd.
That
so
one
like,
is.
So do they still make the top tier ones and stuff like that? So in your opinion, are they still they still hold up, even the top tier ones, or are they still kind of shot?
You need the big block.
Okay.
You know what?
need...
Okay. Having just done a full U.S. tour playing my guitars with Floyd Roses in them, I really had no problems.
Okay. So
I tour with them for a handful of years now, and I do love them.
Do you have the Cadillac version of the Floyds?
I have a Pro, or excuse me, I have the original in one guitar, and I have the 1000 series in another.
Okay. I that's another thing with the Floyds too. Like if I have in a studio setting, I've got to have those noiseless springs.
Oh sure, dude. Well, when you're engineering, of course, yeah.
It's just a lot of the leads on this last album were split up between. Savage has this McCarthy PRS that's just gorgeous. It sounds insane. It has the lower output PRS pickups, and he did a lot of the leads with that. The more moodier, more soulful leads and stuff like that. Then a lot of the fiery leads and the shreddy leads, we used the Hanneman guitar that had the EMGs in it. EMGs are super compressed. Didn't need a lot of gain for those, and didn't have a lot of noise out of it because the EMGs for some reason tend not to pick up as much noise to me, whereas the passive pickups, when you're really, the rhythm tone on this record was hot.
Yeah.
It was very hot.
Yeah.
I wanted to do a tone that was like Cannibal Corpse, but more defined, more zingy, more Chapel. So, I'm thinking about it. I'm trying a bunch of different stuff. I'm EQing my DIs on the way in before the amp. Empress Effects makes that EQ pedal, and it's fantastic, and we use it a lot too. That pedal, you can make any type of clean boost you want, because not only does it have the EQ and the Qs, you can has 3 different bands, has the Q width for each one. You can boost the low and the high shelves too. So you have a low and a high pass. You can boost the low and the high shelf, and you could have a boost option. So you set your EQ, and if you want to boost it and slam the front end of your amp, you just turn the boost option on and turn up the boost, and you have a clean boost that is essentially tailor EQ to what you want. That being said, I was like, well, instead of just me messing around and trying to find this, let me take what I know the Dirty Tree does, which is a clean boost, and it is made to mimic the 33 from Fortin, but it's also made to mimic the classic TC electronics of the preamp, which is what Meshuggah used, made popular.
Classic.
So I have personally shot out the original TC and the Dirty Tree, and it's close, man. It's maybe some minor nuances, but I would reach for the Dirty Tree all day long for that. But that being said, I know what the TC side of the Dirty Tree does. So I know how it EQs the DI. I know how zingy it makes it. So I got that, backed off the gain, EQ'd it how I wanted, and ran it through a Keeley modded MT2, like the Cannibal, what they used for forever.
Yeah.
That was the tone for the record.
Dude,
so
that's
it was
awesome,
it was just like this super gained out, zingy, saturated, low tune monster. And then it was through a Mesa Rev G rectifier, but we used a different power section, and because the Mesa power sections tend to be a little loose, they're a little flubby, and we needed something a little tighter for that tone, and it just was a fire breather. And then for the leads was Wes Houck, actually. He let me borrow this Egnator modded 800 Marshall. Man, for leads, there's an era in the 80s, like the earlier part of the 80s, where those 800s were just phenomenal. Whereas the later era is not bad in comparison by any means, but the earlier ones, for some reason, and that thing just ripped for leads. It was so good.
Yeah.
So we went between that for leads and a VHT Deliverance for some of the leads, just because it's, that power section's immovable. It's just really good for leads because it's just in your face. So, and for boost on that one, for the leads and stuff, like the more soulful stuff, I just used the gain on the Marshall. It didn't need a boost. And then for some of the shreddier Hanneman leads, Spooky Vibes, he makes a Night Terror boost, which is incredible. Yeah, it's a great boost. We use that for a lot of the leads on there too. So,
dude, that's awesome. I mean, you put so much effort into the craft, and you want it to sound exactly right? I mean, that's
It's
ultimately at the end of the day, you got to make something that you're super happy with. And
correct.
Put it out there. Put the work into it, you know.
It takes time, you know. Like I've never been quick, you know. I gotta stick with problems longer. You know, some people are just faster, but like, you know, it's great we have all these virtual instruments now. It's fantastic. I love it because they're convenient.
Yeah.
And I use them, but it's not as if you have the ability, it's not good to just depend on those for everything. And I think you lose out learning a lot of valuable lessons and information if you don't learn how to do it first.
Totally.
And then even then you can manipulate those virtual instruments even better. So
yeah. Well, in the workflow of working with analog versus digital, to broad strokes it, that changes the outcome of the performances. Like even just working with those items and being in a room with those sounds, you know, sonically speaking, it changes like how you play and how you record the record and how you feel it and stuff. You know?
It makes a big difference because the feel of an amp is just always going to be something a little different. Maybe not always, but a lot of people will track, say, to a virtual instrument and then they'll set up a regulator on a reamp.
Yeah.
But it's, at this point too, it's just just track to the amp. Let's do that, and we reamp if we have to for some reason.
Guilty of that.
Well, no, we are too. But But this time we're like, let's just try to get like because you're playing, you're feeling the parts to what you're playing and hearing from the real amp. So why not? Unless something messed up and you have to reamp a part or a song.
Sure.
The majority, I'd say 80% of that record, the most recent record, was none of it was reamped. The only thing I got reamped was like, this is kind of noisy. Let me edit this DI and kind of go back through there.
Sure, yeah, that happens.
Yeah,
where was this all done, by the way?
My house.
Did you do drums there too?
Oh yeah, we did drums there too.
Whole record then?
Whole record was done there. Yes.
That's so sick.
100%.
You kind of do it in house, I guess.
Yeah,
and literally.
Literally.
Zach Householder's house.
Yeah, it was a good experience, man. It was a lot of fun and Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say it sounds great. Like the record
you.
sounds mean as hell, bro. Like it's insane.
The material was fun too, so it helped. Like, you know, the material shapes the sound too. Just the sound takes the material.
Well, I'm sure you guys, especially because I know how many throwbacks are on that record. How, like the lore, it goes deeper than just a new album, right?
Correct.
Like, tell me a little bit about that. Where you guys work with.
When Phil has a concept, he kind of gives it to us. And it does change, you know, as time goes on. Like, it'll be one thing, but it's like, actually, you know, it makes more sense to do it this way, et cetera, et cetera. But wanted to kind of, like, he wound up kind of taking the throwback from the Exile. This is a continuation, I think, of that lore, whereas he's trying to continue what his father did, but also the first few songs kind of explain that, and then the last bit of the record is the 7 Deadly Sins. So that was the kind of the vibe around that. Like each song's a little tidbit of that. So, but it still pertains to what the antagonist is trying to do. So, Phil and I, and everybody, well, mainly more me, Phil, and Sab, I guess. But we love horror. We love the shock factor things, and the idea is to listen to it and kind of get a creepy vibe. You know, like I like the psychological factor of fearing what's not there, as in like Babadook. You never see.
It's on my list, dude. I haven't seen it yet.
You never see it.
Yeah.
But it's just it's fearing what's there. Ooh, it's like the Blair Witch.
I was just gonna bring that up. Just like the Blair Witch.
So same idea. I like things that invoke that feeling and make you usually, just
that's crazy Hollywood jump scares, but instead it's like that feeling of unease in a cinematic environment.
Jump scares to me, I'm just
for sure.
Give me
it's all predictable at this point.
Give me the Hereditary. Give me that. Bro, just the uneasy.
Sick is Hereditary.
Yeah.
It's haunting.
It's
cool that has influenced the music so much.
Yes, just that whole vibe.
I could definitely hear that. Yeah,
that was there was some energy around that record. I think we just realized we didn't set out to write a heavy record. We just said, I think everybody's just angry. So here we go. So.
Well, dude, it sounds amazing. You guys have been touring on it this year, and it seems like it's going really well.
Yeah. And you'll get to see all of it tonight.
Dude, sick. Yeah, well, we saw it last night. Yeah. And it was awesome, dude. Cool. You know, we were in Nashville tonight. You're in Chattanooga at the Signal.
The Signal, correct. Lots of goodies for everyone tonight, including.
I was happy, and I've been a long time listener, so it was very sick to see you guys last night. I know you're gonna rip it tonight, and congrats on the successful tour, man.
Thank you, man.
Thank you for taking the time,
yes,
dude. I'm Sam. We'll see you on another rundown.
All right, thank you guys.